news, everyone?
We're so back!
We're sorry. We're gone for a long time.
Yeah, a lot of life happens, came at us quick, but just like our boy Luffy, we always bounce back.
And the time we were gone, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, we missed a lot of stuff happening in Elbaph.
Yeah, so much just went down. And before we get too crazy with all the lore and predictions of what is to come, and don't worry, that is coming, we first wanted to just take a step back and give a slow clap for the absolute banger that has been the Elbaph arc. And honestly, what better way to do that than just take a moment to channel our inner Usopp and glaze the giant warriors of Elbaph for a minute.
Yeah, because even after what has been a lot of hype, which is like 1,000 chapters worth of anticipation just hearing about Elbaph for the first time to finally being here, ever since we met Dorry and Brogy all the way back in Little Garden, I don't think it's an unfair statement to say they've exceeded our expectations.
Yeah, it's so goddamn legendary, and every last one of these warriors are truly just built different.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're the biggest or the smallest. The weakest link is often a sign of how strong your community is, and
they just don't have one. They don't have a weak link.
There's no weak spot here. And so we just want to give our props to all of these giants. At least take some time to give them some flowers to the ones that have truly shined the most throughout these chapters that we've been gone. And just go into it with you guys because we really like the Giants and we think everyone should.
Yeah, they need all the love for what they've done in this arc. And it only makes sense to begin with the warriors who started it all, who started our yearning for Elbaph, and that is Dorry and Brogy. And to some, it may get a bit repetitive, always hearing Usopp go on and on, glazing their warrior spirit, the giant pride that he learned from them. And there are definitely times where he needs to dial it back, especially when shit's going off all around them, like at the end of 1172 with Nami. But he's right, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, he fully recognizes that the resolve it takes to sacrifice their lives with the intent of just perishing with their children or to protect their community or their elders, it doesn't matter. Every single one of them deserves the props that he's giving them, and it seems like an overreaction, but that's kind of how all of us are reading it as well.
Yeah, and I mean, when they took that swing, like, to kill each other, and, like, just had that moment of, like, it's been a pleasure, my friend, that was some gangster shit. They really were ready to die a warrior's death. And you know, Oda, this would have been a perfect time that death would have felt like it meant something, it belonged there, and it helped the story along.
That's kind of the issue with Oda's writing sometimes, is he's really good at writing character deaths. He doesn't like to actually kill the character.
Death is an illusion. Yeah, but like sometimes it just has to happen. This is what they should have been working towards, is to die a warrior's death, and they would have been doing it to go out defending their homeland and to save everyone.
But because it is just an illusion, like you said, instead it just ends up breaking their Domi Reversi and turning them back into normal people, which I think I would like it more if it felt more like they themselves had to be sacrificial and make that choice.
Right, like each giant, instead of just everyone realizing, oh, we can just go and try to kill these dark ones and then the normal guys are back. But yeah, it does feel like the stakes have gone down a little.
I think part of that was also that Oda wanted the chance to not hold back in fighting and how brutal he can be when it's coming to the warriors like this, but I don't know. I definitely would want him to not shy away from these kind of character deaths as we're getting later in the story, because I want it to mean something.
Definitely. But regardless of his willingness to actually go through with it, at least he wrote them willing to go through with it, and they were about to go out like some true badasses. And I like that they took that quick moment of when they were thinking they're about to die, kind of referencing to themselves that they've been through a lot together. They've had all these battles, and they were ready to give it all. So, SKOL for that. As much as Oda might have fumbled it, depending how you look at it, they're still great for that.
That's the thing that makes it so good in the build-up to what you expect to be the character death, is they themselves are fully embracing it like it is going to happen, and come to terms with that. And I like what you were saying in your notes too, where it's always been on equal footing with these two.
Yeah, they've been trying to land a killing blow for 100 years when they were fighting. And they just never could. They always were trying to, though. It wasn't that they were holding anything back.
No, but once they reached the point where they both realized they could fight no more, it didn't even need to be said.
Yep, it was just the unspoken, you know what we gotta do? Yep, it's been real, friend. And they did it.
But moving from the past Giant Warrior Pirates into the new generation's Giant Warrior Pirates, we also wanted to give our props to their captain, being Hajrudin.
And he hasn't necessarily had a shining moment yet in this arc, but I just think it's worth mentioning that he's really already acting much more like a king than a captain at this point. And he's really kind of become the first fleet member to actually have his loyalty to Luffy tested.
Yeah. I mean, we see that with the direct crew throughout the story in the first half all the time, is them questioning whether or not Luffy's instinct is really worth following or he's crazy. But they all found out one way or another, and he really doesn't have a lot of reason to give him the benefit of the doubt other than his faith in Luffy.
Yeah, because especially when it's your brother who, as far as you know, murdered your father, and then goes on a rampage and starts the land on fire again. Like, he has every reason to just say, no, I'm not going to hear him out, I'm not going to give him another chance, and just cut him down right there.
And I'm not sure if he's going to get a moment against, like, the Gunko-Emu combination we have in front of Loki and Luffy, but I want him to get that moment too, like you said, to show the people it's like, oh, this is the next leader of our country. If Loki has to leave or Loki has another purpose, we have a leader. It's not going to be in disarray like it was after Harold's death.
Yeah, and he really does have shades of Harold with how he just kind of thinks through everything and doesn't just go into everything headstrong and violent. He will give it some thought. And it's also worth saying he's got Stansen at his right hand, also supporting him, who also hasn't had a real moment, but just trusts him and Luffy to make the right call.
Yeah, he's very much like the Zoro to his Luffy, where he just doesn't make many questions. He's always ready for what happens.
Yep, he's there to carry it out. True right-hand man. And it was also funny seeing him, Zoro, Dorry, and Brogy all clearly very excited, even if they were pretending that they weren't, that they get to go all out against the cursed giants.
We've seen Zoro be bloodthirsty before, but it makes sense that these giants that have been fighting for centuries and come from generations of warriors would be like, oh no, I don't have to hold back.
Oh, there's no repercussions and I'm actually helping them by doing this? Oh, that's too bad.
Let me just stretch a little bit.
No, yeah, that was good.
But while we are also still on the subject of the new Giant Warrior Pirates, or the GWP.
GWP, coining it now.
We have to also give some prop to some members that have been nice additions, but haven't really shown their true abilities until now. And that being the three generals.
Yeah.
Gerd, Goldberg, and Road.
Yeah, who, especially Road, but all three of them, we haven't really seen them in battle to this point. And then they pop out and give us a new sovereignty attack, a 3-piece from all of them. And it seems like that's just the Giants' specialty. And I mean, we knew the Nightmare Nika wasn't going to be the same as the true Nika. But just the fact they completely obliterated him and the ship that was behind him all in one fell swoop, that was crazy.
Yeah, no, they completely threw the plan of the God's Knights out the window and just said, all right, we're doing chaos now.
With one attack.
But you also did some research into the actual translation for Gokoku sovereignty, because we've seen other iterations before, like you've mentioned, the most common being the Hokaku sovereignty that Dorry and Brogy, I believe, did all the way back on Little Garden against the giant goldfish.
Yep, and then again when the Kid Pirates came.
So we've seen that one a few times.
And then there's also the Ikoku sovereignty, which I think that one's also been done by Big Mom, but we even see Brogy use it, or maybe it was Dorry, one of them use it while fighting the cursed giants. So Gokoku translates to Roaring Nation, whereas Hakaku, the attack that's been used to wipe out others, actually is more along the lines of nation breaking, conquest, or domination. And then the Ikoku, the more simple, basic one-person attack, is just Mighty Nation. So I think that's just a cool distinction, because Dorry and Brogy's use of the Hakaku sovereignty is much more rooted in destruction of others, which is fitting as the captains. And then the roar of these three members with the Gokaku that we haven't seen before, it more represents the strength within the body of Elbaph's people.
Yeah, no, I mean, the strength of their culture, and especially of these three as a group working collectively to support their captains and their leaders, it's also just representative of the change we've seen in Elbaph. It's not just a nation of warriors that goes out to conquest and destroy for fun. Now they're also embracing building and that strength of community and connecting with other nations as well.
And they can still fight, but now it's not just to destroy, it's more to defend and work towards this idea of peace that Harold dreamed of.
But it's not just the ones on the crew, it's not just the pirates, it's not just the warrior giants, it's every single member of this country that shined, and especially emotionally.
Yeah, oh man. This almost broke me, dude. Ripley and the older family members of those marching school kids, they showed the true strength of the giant warriors, and that it's beyond just a physical strength.
No, it's the strength of bonds that you can only make when it's so genuine and full of this kind of love and care that you would give up anything for those other people. And every time you think Oda's not going to make you cry again reading his manga, he just hits you with something that makes you feel something again.
Yeah, it cuts you deep. And first, let me just say it, short and sweet, fuck Sommers. All my homies hate Sommers. He's a sick, sadistic, Epstein-coded bitch, and I hate him. He immediately replaced Saturn on my die slowly and painfully list, and I need him to go out in the worst way possible.
He's like up there with Charlos pretty quickly. His sickening delight at the different kinds of death and emotion that comes with that despair.
Yeah, and I mean, we see something similar from Killingham too in these chapters, but it's different with Sommers. He is a next level, just sadist.
He's a bad man.
Yeah.
He's a bad man, and we don't like him.
No.
But even in the face of that, Ripley is the GOAT.
She's the GOAT.
She's the best. And it's not out of the question. One Piece has very often preached the importance of family, especially found family. But in 1174, they really showed the exact description of the title being the strongest thing in the world.
Yeah, and it's just the bond of love and the bond of family. And it's something that someone like Sommers could never understand. Because her embracing Colin and saying, if there's nothing else I can do for you, there's no other way I can stop this, then I'm not letting you die alone. Oh man, that was poetic. It was just a beautiful representation of a mother's love.
The whole time I was also thinking, I was like, they're gonna have to stop these kids eventually. They're not actually gonna let them all walk off. Like, something's gonna just save them or stop them. But no, one after another, not just mothers, but grandpas and brothers like we see in Road come to save their family and be with them in their darkest moment. Also, ultra rare, super rare Bjorn.
That was awesome.
So random.
That's clearly just, like, I don't know, that's like their play names when they're wrestling and like pretending to be, like great giant warriors, but that was hilarious for him to yell out. He's still a goon, but you know what? Give Road his props.
He's a good brother.
He stepped up in these couple chapters, and yeah, we finally saw like a good side of him.
But I think the one that might be the most emotionally charged is definitely between Ange and Johanna.
Yeah, that one hit different because she's sitting there and seeing, and it wasn't all parents either, but for her it seems like she just doesn't really have a family, and that can be difficult, and it can make it easy to be resentful. But just like Robin at Aeneas Lobby, she had that moment where she finally realized she's not alone. She has someone who values her life enough to give their own for hers. And it was also a small detail you pointed out, but earlier on, they had said that Ange had run off to try to save them, but she was so far away, they didn't think she was going to make it. She probably wouldn't. But no, she pulled through and made it all the way there so that Johanna wouldn't feel alone.
Yeah, and that was Nami's calculation. That wasn't just like
an
offhanded guess.
Knows navigate. Like, we're too far. She's not going to make it.
But no, she literally sprinted the whole way, most likely, just to be there for this moment, to be just so she could think she was dying.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. Just so that this one kid wouldn't die alone. And yeah, she was willing to give her life for that.
Just absolutely tugs at the heartstrings.
Yeah, and then he just keeps going, dude. So they get saved. And then we're like, okay, great. They turn right back around. And it looks like Sommers is about to get them anyway. And literally, these kids who just had their life flash before their eyes. They now find the strength to step in front of the gun, pretty literally, and put their own lives on the line to protect their family.
It's just, it's heavy stuff.
Yeah, like, Colin, bro, way to step up. Like, sure, he's a dumb kid with a short fuse, but he's still got that dog in him. And that was just beautiful, how they all just grew up in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of bravery is not feeling afraid, but doing it anyway.
Yep, that's that giant warrior spirit. They're willing to look death in the face.
I really like how each one of them kind of got a chance to step out and be their own, have their own moment. They were all unique. None of them just felt like a copy and paste of one another.
We got each one of their personalities, their home life, and then saw them step up and become more of the giant they were growing into.
And before we get to our last few, we of course want to jump from the young generation to the oldest on the island, that being Old Man Jarul.
Yeah, because he stepped up. And not only did he honor King Harald's wish, he avoided the giants all going to war and let Loki shoulder all of this burden. But after keeping Elbaph dormant and safe for so long, he just, in one fell swoop, cleared Loki's name and basically declared war on the world government and said, "We will stand against you when everything reaches this final divide."
What I love too is it's not even just like on this matter. He's like, wherever we end up going from here in the world, whatever side you're on, we're on the opposite side.
We don't fuck with you.
We don't like you.
Like, you thought this was gonna break us? You messed up.
You made beef that will last forever now. And I can immediately understand why Zoro would be like, I like this guy.
Yeah, even Zoro's like, this guy's alright. and then Hajrudin's like,
of course you like him.
He used to be seen as the strongest giant to ever live. And he's still like that. And now you see why Usopp swoons over these guys.
And why he can live with a sword in his head.
Yeah, also that. He tanked a sword from Harald, like a legendary sword. Crazy.
But speaking of Usopp, that'll be our second to last, because while he's not colossal like the others we've seen here, he is our own kind of tiny giant. He's literally looked up to these guys for about another 1,000 chapters. He's wanted to be a brave warrior of the sea because of them. And kind of similar to Hajrudin, he hasn't had his maybe biggest shining moment yet, but he's embraced that warrior spirit since he set foot on this island.
Yeah, he felt the sorrow seeing Dorry and Brogy transform and turned into something that they're not. And the pride that he then feels when Jarul's message goes out to the country and everyone embraces it reminds him, like, nope, this is still the Elbaph I love.
Mm-hmm. And then still embodying that bravery when face to face with what he doesn't know is Gunko and Imu put together, but somebody he sees is putting his crewmate in danger.
And he's already seen Gunko's immense power and was terrified of it. And he crawls after Brook and says, I'm not gonna let you go out alone. And then stands up to her.
Mm-hmm. He calls him out for being a coward, for using underhanded tactics to not take head on this prideful nation of warriors. And instead, he takes his own very close range attack and gets one to land on Gunko, just completely unafraid of what it would do to himself, because he is close enough to that blast. He's taken some of the damage.
Him up, yeah.
But it doesn't matter. He's following in the footsteps of his masters, and he's acting like a brave warrior.
Yep, and he didn't cry, because he's done it before somewhat, but then he still will be like, I don't want to die. This, he went through with it, and he didn't flinch. And I respect that. And he basically just called Imu a bitch to their face. So, like, go off, Usopp.
There's a feat.
Yeah, we'll take that. There's more to come, I'm sure.
But that, of course, leads us to the crown jewel of the Giants. And the one I'm sure everyone's been waiting for. The chronically misunderstood and absolutely fucking badass Prince Loki.
Yeah, and I mean, just where do you begin? Because first, we wouldn't have even learned about how great King Harald truly was, or all the secrets of God Valley that we've been waiting so long for nearly a decade at this point themselves, if it weren't for him revealing all of it to us. So shout out him for that to begin with, and be the mouthpiece Oda needed to lore dump on us. But then, man, he is just next level character writing.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen villains that were misunderstood, like Senior Pink or Bone Clay, that go on, and as soon as we know who they are, they become fan favorites. They become beloved by the crew and the fans. But I don't know if we've seen somebody that was simultaneously also still awful.
Yeah, still actually
he did
was
awful
a bad
things.
guy. Was a bad guy.
But at the same time, he might be the most noble person on this island.
Yeah, because he realized in that moment that his dad goes down. He's like, I can't let his name be dragged through the mud, and I can't let the Giants potentially, like, he understood too, they would probably take retaliation, and that's not what his dad wanted. No. And so he said, let me just keep being the villain. Let me put that all on my shoulders.
And because of that, his father's message was upheld and still praised and passed on to this next generation just because he was willing to be the scapegoat.
Because if nothing else, he did care about family. We saw it when Ida died. He still loved her. He saw her as his mother. It meant something to him, even if he never really showed it.
Yeah, and I mean, these are the same people that his whole life made fun of him, told him he was cursed, told him he was awful and evil. And in that moment, he made the most selfless decision he could have.
Yeah. And
just, wow.
Yeah, wow. And I mean, in a land of great warriors, the greatest warriors on earth, it only seems fitting that of all of them to be deemed worthy, it would have to be the one that was basically cast out by them. And now suddenly he's the only one that this ancient weapon of the gods finally sees as their master, as the one worthy of wielding it again after thousands of years.
And my god, dude, the devil fruit, the hammer's a squirrel.
Yeah, the squirrel hammer.
It's a squirrel. That's the coolest part about it, but it's not the most powerful part about it. It's just awesome.
I love everything about this, that he's got that, and then, wow, the actual devil fruit itself, the Needhog, a Norse obsidian dragon that shoots lightning, and and even in the mythology, it was like a malevolent, chaotic type of dragon, so it really fits with his actual persona.
And you're getting the maximum power out of it, with him being the largest giant we've seen thus far, aside from maybe Ors.
Yeah, because they say it scales itself basically to the size of its inhabitor. So for it to go to him is just broken.
He is so strong that our prediction that he would surpass Kaido in terms of strength, just based on where the story was going, is looking very strong at the moment.
I'd say he already has to some degree, but yeah. We had no idea. We were right, but we didn't realize how right we were.
I mean, Jarul himself even gives the exposition that there's a legend that the previous God of War giant who held this hammer and who had this devil fruit would spar essentially and lock horns and go toe to toe essentially with the sun god.
Yeah. So I mean, Kaido got turned into jump rope by Nika. He kind of got embarrassed throughout the fight. And Luffy was just figuring out how to be Nika. That was his first time doing it. This guy can go toe-to-toe, and now they're fighting alongside each other. Yeah, it's over. So I'm excited to see what they can do together.
I can't wait for the combos we're going to get.
Yeah.
I also hope he joins the crew.
That would be amazing. I don't know if he is controllable enough to. He kind of just seems like he's already butting heads with Luffy every other, word that they say to each other, but it would be awesome if he did.
He'll probably show up to just the final fight, because also where's he going to fit on the boat?
He'd fly above it.
He could just walk next to it.
Next to it. Yeah, that would be fine.
He's a devil fruit, though. I don't know. Who knows?
We'll just be tired.
I just want him around more.
Yeah. Awesome character. And I guess what we're really just trying to say is we are thoroughly enjoying our time on Elbaph. And all the Giants as a whole are somehow exceeding the very high expectations that we already had for them coming into this long-awaited arc.
And, well, we do apologize that so much has happened in our time away, and there's been a lot of discussions we could have had. We do plan to get back into the swing of things, but we would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the Giants. Let us know below in the comments if there's a favorite or a moment that stood out to you that really resonated. We'd love to hear about it. Be sure to like the video to help support the channel, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. But, most importantly, and you cannot forget,
Be crew.